With the research context of Lesson 1 and the array of visual frameworks of Lesson 2 as the foundation, we're ready to look at the actual information design method. In 2005, I published the first edition of Beeldtaal voor Juristen in the Netherlands. The training program you're currently following is the first complete translation of the method in English as visual language for lawyers. However, it's been updated with the many changes in the information landscape, legal practice, user expectations, and a landslide change since the introduction of smartphones. The work has evolved into a much more practically validated method based on the training with hundreds of lawyers in all kinds of legal roles, fields of practice, and legal organizations, as well as a wide range of implementation projects. I will first give an overview of the 6 steps with an example. In Lesson 4, you will apply this to your own legal content. As an example, we will look at the State of Colorado's Paid Family and Medical Leave Act. As you watch this lesson, please replace it in your mind with a similar type of law in your country or a similar type of policy in your organization. How do you get from this wall of fine print to something practical and user-friendly? Step 1 is about getting to know your audience. Who are we? We are 2 working parents with elementary school-aged children. One of our children is very ill. We both have a college degree, but we've never had to deal with this, and we're very tired from everything that's going on. We need a solution quickly. Who are you? A private attorney representing this client, or a government counsel providing general information to the public, or a corporate counsel representing an employer? Let's assume you are the general counsel for the company where both parents work. We want to apply for medical leave. We both work, and we each want to work part-time so we can take care of our child. What do we need to know about this policy to get time off as soon as possible and not lose our monthly income? We cannot afford a delay in pay. And how do we apply? Please show us what to do. Step 2 is about the content. From the wide availability of information and expertise, you identify what is most relevant for your audience. It's easy to remember. Content is what makes your user content. Not too much, not too little, just right. You have to be very knowledgeable to figure that out. Einstein has famously said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. You match the information to the needs of your audience. In the example of the couple who wants to apply for a family medical leave to take care of their sick child, these may be the most relevant sections to pick. In selecting what you leave out, you will have to decide if you make this infographic for this client specifically as individual legal advice, or if it's part of the information for all employees in a company or all employees in the state. In step 1, you decided on your role as a legal professional. If you're not clear on this yet, go back to step 1. Things you will likely leave out are the definitions. If this is a customized visual, you will leave out most of the exceptions that are not relevant for this specific couple. Otherwise, you will have a list of more general exceptions to keep. You get the idea. You comb through the information and decide what to keep. The rest could be saved for another layer or medium, but is not going to show up in your high-level overview graphic. As you do this, you also edit for plain language. If you copy full paragraphs of text, it will be difficult to fit the text in a visual framework. Kill your darlings. In step 3, you search for the template, the visual framework that works best with the structure of the content. If your content is one central idea built out of 6 main elements, you may look for a circle with 6 parts. If your content is made out of steps in time, it makes sense to fit it on a timeline. This step is not science, but rather art. It works best to test a few different options and see what makes the most sense and what kind of framework might fit best. You can visually, spatially imagine it in your mind, like you would check if the new sectional couch would fit in your living room. If this is not how your mind works, you can sketch and scribble it out on sticky notes, or you can create a mock-up with some keywords in PowerPoint. The most important part is to experiment and create some rapid prototypes without putting in too much time to work on all the details. To assist in finding a good framework for your information design, I recommend to look at plain diagrams, graphic organizers, and template libraries in the software that you use. Even PowerPoint can help for inspiration by looking at the smart art graphics. To support your research and ideation in step 3, you can find diagram options and ideas in Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint under Insert, Smart Art. Then you will see this list of diagram types. Each list has a set of variations. Once you have an idea, for example a circle diagram or a matrix, you can Google for images, circle diagram, infographics. I hope you get the idea. You're trying to generate options and ideas for a framework that naturally highlights and structures the legal information you are packaging for your audience. We could keep showing you many more examples of eye candy, but active learning is a much better way to get visually and mentally nourished. So please pause here and develop your own taste. Review step 3 and look at the different ways to find visual frameworks. It will be much easier in the next lesson when you've already done this. Like anything on the internet, it's very easy to get down the rabbit hole, but it will give you many ideas and directions to explore. Find 3 examples that you like best. Would they fit well as packaging for your own designs? Step 4 is the fun part. You get to puzzle the information into the framework that you selected. In our example of the family medical leave policy, I selected a combination of a circle and a quadrant. I find the circle works well to put something clearly at the center and to show it as one main concept. Visually, it has the effect of layers. It looks like the circle is on top and comes forward, while the quadrant is underneath, slightly more into the back. As you put in the pieces of text and information, you think through the most logical placement. Visually, it's logical to start in the upper left and work clockwise. In information design, you need to respect clichés and habits of how users use information. If you try to be too original, it might not be self-explanatory. What other indicators or signals might be helpful to give the user a quick and easy entry point? In creating this example, I decided that it was good to label the quadrants with the word if, to show that those are the 4 conditions that an applicant needs to check off. From here, you can keep adding to your puzzle. For example, process steps on how to apply, or process on a timeline. With the information solidly selected and organized for your audience, you've done your legal duties. Step 5 is for visual details. Now you can improve the visual packaging to make it easier for your users to pay attention, to engage with the information, and to use it as they go. This example was a rather plain diagram that still looks conceptual and abstract. Let's add the visual touch. Numbers will help with wayfinding. Step 6 is the essential but most annoying part. You've wrestled yourself through the 5 previous steps to piece it all together. You think it's pretty clear, looks nice, actually you kind of love it. However, it's not about you. You have to test the visual with your audience. It's smart to go back to step 1 to double check if you've covered what you intended from your user's point of view. Then you need to do some informal testing with a few other outsiders. Someone who can look with fresh eyes and can tell you what is self-explanatory and what not. Hopefully most of it makes sense, but typically there are a few things that are obvious to you but not to your testers. Go back to the 6 steps, assess where you might need to make changes. Make a new prototype for your design, and guess what? Test again, and sooner or later you will get to this point.